Stephen Mead again, back with another Bullseye Guy podcast. Love doing these things. I don't do them often enough, but as many of you know, I've been spending a lot of time Dubai, Middle East. Fascinating time right now. The movement towards Dubai and GCC and the Abraham Accords and Saudi Arabia. There's really a lot of fascinating, amazing movement going on within the region, but I've learned there's also some misperceptions. I believe that's the word, as opposed to misconceptions. We're going to go with misperceptions. And I've kind of listened around and thought, all right, what can I do to do a sort of top 10 observations that I've had from Dubai that not only are cool and interesting, but are somewhat potential misperceptions or misconceptions. I have to figure out which one that is. Perception, that's what we're going with. So this is my top 10. I'm going to go through, and I think it's especially important because Qatar's coming up. So November is the World Cup, and it's going to be amazing. I was fortunate. I was just in Doha a month ago with the Bloomberg Economic Forum, got to tour one of the amazing stadiums, was fortunate to meet Hassan, who runs Qatar, and Giovanni, and I got to hold the soccer ball. I mean, it was cool stuff. And the month before that, I was actually in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Again, luckily at an event with Anthony Ratosa, who does an amazing job on the family office events. And so I've got to see some of the differences, but I also understand where there is this sort of misperception of the Middle East. And I'm going to start with that. Dubai, in and of itself, granted it's in the Middle East, but it is open. It is multicultural. It's not a situation that is heavily Muslim and constrained. And again, none of this is meant to be negative or pejorative. These are observations, but it seems there's confusion between Saudi Arabia, which seems to be much more obviously confined towards women. I think they're getting more open, but there's more constraints on women that used to have to be much more covered. And then Qatar is interesting too, because people have this misperception about Qatar, and I've seen some interviews and been there. Qatar's term is modesty. They have certain cultural norms, but they're also about modesty in public and things like that. Dubai is fascinating. It is multicultural. It's open. It's not heavily Muslim in terms of the way you would think. And often I hear people say, oh, are the women all covered up? No. Oh, can the women drive? Yeah. It's not only open, it's multinational, it's non-racist. And again, I'm not picking sides. I'm in America. We've got our own set of issues, but Dubai is so multiculturally diverse. There's so many people from different countries and cultures around the world, and it's been extremely open to all. And it's English speaking. They do have Arabic, but for the majority of it, almost everybody, I take that back, everybody I've run into speaks English, other than maybe some of the Russians that are coming here whose English is a little limited. But cab drivers, service people, hotel, food staff, and you don't get that in certain other countries. So the English is a dominant language, which makes communication really easy. And in terms of women are accepted, not just out in public, which again, I think may to the normal person sound weird, but from a business standpoint, there's more and more women empowerment forums. Leo Christian and Muhammad Khalid Al Ali are trying to do stuff. There's women empowerment, there's women forums, there's more women on stage. There's more and more acceptance of women in business, being culturally accepted and being put in positions of influence and power and dominance, even within the Dubai government. I believe the Ministry of Environment, again, don't hold it against me. I'm still learning all of the players, but I believe she's a woman. I've heard amazing things about her. So sometimes I'll hear the fact of a question. People go, oh, well, you know, are women covered up? No, this is a wide open cultural phenomenon. And when I go wide open, the way I describe Dubai to people, sometimes I say, look, Dubai is like Las Vegas with a beach and no strip clubs. And they look at me and laugh, and there's a lot to that. So number one, what is Vegas known for? I mean, you've got gambling and you've got the seedy side, but Las Vegas is this massive, it's much more of a tourist site now. It's much more of a tourist environment than it really is gambling and things. Yeah, people still go there, but Dubai, again, this is one of the things. Dubai, people think Dubai is all about oil. My understanding is Dubai doesn't have oil. Right. So this is kind of number three. So number one, open culture. Two, women are accepted. Three, it's like Vegas. Dubai is, I believe, over 60% service related. There's not oil. The sheikhs that are here were here on a business capacity. Abu Dhabi apparently has oil. Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi. Dubai's a service city. That means the service component of things to do is fascinating. It's unlimited. The building that I live in when I'm here has tourist things in the building I didn't even know that was going on. So Dubai's a lot more like Vegas. It's so many things to do. When I arrived one time back during Expo, I went through security and passport control, and one of the mobile phone companies here, great company. Gave you a little package with a SIM card and a little bit of minutes and some data to sort of have your local SIM. But within there is a package, and I know all of you guys have seen it. It was folded piece of paper, and you open it up, and this thing, if I held it up, would have fallen all the way down to the floor. And I'm looking at it, and there was so many things to do. There's aquariums and theme parks and arcades, and I thought, you couldn't do all of this in a day or a week or a month. Dubai Mall is right across from where I stay. I still am walking through Dubai Mall, and I'm like, I had no idea that was there. There's arcades, there's gymnasiums, there's movie theaters. There's so much to do here that Dubai, I joke, Dubai needs its own saying, right? There's a great saying in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And Vegas has done an amazing job of branding. I think Dubai needs to brand themselves. And it's part of something I joke with people. I said, Dubai has a sickness. And I've told some of the government people, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, there's a disease in Dubai. I'm like, what do you mean? And I said, all right, this on my list, this is number 4. More things to do than Vegas. The disease in Dubai is called DES. It's the Dubai Extended Syndrome. Almost invariably, every single person I've met says, oh, when are you leaving? Oh, well, I was leaving a week ago, but I extended for another week. Oh, how long are you staying? Oh, I don't know. I'm staying for 2 weeks, but I might extend a month. Oh, how long have you been here? Oh, I came 22 years ago and I extended and I just never left. So I think Dubai needs its own phrase. Vegas has what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I think Dubai needs the saying, if you come to Vegas, you stay in Vegas. And they need to run a commercial, not with the pretty beach and the girl and the pretty restaurant. They need to run a commercial that's just every single thing you can do in Vegas and says, if you come to Vegas, to Dubai, everything you can do in Dubai. If you come to Dubai, you stay in Dubai. There's just so much to do. It's really, really quite amazing. And just like Vegas, this is number 5, the hotel culture in Dubai is huge and tremendous and fascinating. Just around Dubai Mall, one of the biggest, if not the biggest mall in the world, I don't know. There's a group of hotel properties from Amar, and there's Address Skyviews. Beautiful building, 2 towers, infinity pool overlooking Burj Khalifa, beautiful lounge. There's always people there meeting, and you're like, oh, this is cool. That hotel is one of the nicest hotels. It would rival a lot of the nice hotels in America. It's that level. And then you walk through a little area, and all of a sudden, here's Address Boulevard, and Address Dubai Mall, and Address Downtown, and Address Fountain Views. There's 5 hotels just around the mall that are Address hotels. By the way, if you ever come to Dubai and say, hey, make me an address. It's address Boulevard, address downtown. They all have different names. Address Marina. There's a bunch of them. But the hotel culture is big. The meetings are done in there, the lobby. This is a cultural, it's almost like an elevated Starbucks. You'll find more people sitting in a hotel lobby 4, 5, 6 at a time having coffee and meetings than you'll find in Starbucks in Dubai. And so the hotel culture is really, really big, and they are everywhere. The number of amazing hotels in Dubai is it's unparalleled from any other city I've been in anywhere in the world. It's really quite fascinating. There's St. Regis, there's Four Seasons, there's Ritz Carltons, there's Address, there's just an amazing depth of hotels. That leads to something kind of interesting. Some people, again, number 6, is there drinking in Dubai? Absolutely. Again, it's like Vegas. There is a pool culture, not so much downtown, but in an area called the Marina, especially in other areas. There's a hotel called Five Palm. Beautiful hotel, pool, little walkway, beach, and all up and down the strip are hotels and beach properties and things like that. So the culture side of drinking alcohol and party, and again, I'm not saying about partying, this is just what people's misperception is. In Dubai, apparently the facility, words matter here, the restaurant, in order to serve alcohol has to be, quote, in a hotel. Well, apparently the definition of in is loosely defined. It's not in the building. It almost seems like it's in the property or even in the, quote, vicinity. Meaning there's an area, Four Seasons, and you drive up a hill and there's 2, 3, 4, 5 amazing, beautiful restaurants within the compound or facility of the Four Seasons. So these are just normal hotels like you would find in Vegas. Again, the hotel culture is there, but within the drinking, it's drinking within the hotel property, which leads me to number 7, is alcohol allowed for purchase. If you come to Dubai and you're staying in a private residence, an Airbnb, a hotel, you can have alcohol. It's not complicated, but it's narrow, meaning it's not sold everywhere. It's basically sold at 2 locations. One's called Africa and Eastern, or Eastern and Africa, something like that. There's one in Dubai Mall. There's another one, I believe, called MII or something like that. In essence, there's 2, it seems 2 licensed distributors where you can purchase alcohol, and you need your passport. So you can't just walk in and say, here's my ID, I'm 21, or they can't look at you and go, dude, you look 21, or you look 41, or you look 61. You have to purchase with a passport, because what apparently they actually do is see where you are and where you stay and things like that. So you can't buy alcohol. You can't consume it in a private residence, but there's primarily only 2 locations. So again, this is where the hotels come in, is these big, amazing, beautiful hotels have restaurants and pools and pool parties and clubs, and the drinking and the alcohol and everything is there. And again, a lot like Vegas, every kind of food is here. Everything from American brands to international brands. If you want Dunkin' Donuts or something from Denmark, it's here and available. The cultural side of the city is really, really fascinating. So number 8, this looks like it might be a shorter podcast, which, for some people say, yeah, good. Let's see, Dubai. Dubai is kind of like living in a hamster cage, a little bit. And let me explain. People are like, I don't get it. I didn't say hamster wheel. I said hamster cage. And I hope most of you have seen a hamster cage, and I say hamster, not mouse, but hamster cage, right? A big cage, and it's got tunnels. It's got these little plastic tunnels, and the hamster can climb up through a tunnel and end up in another room, and then that room might collect to another tunnel, and they can spend time in their hamster cage and be in tunnels. Why is that relevant? Well, in the summertime, it's hot. I'm from the South. I love it hot. I mean, it's 115, 120 degrees. I don't mind that at all. A lot of people kind of freak out on it. It's hot though. There's been days I don't go outside. I didn't say I don't leave my room. I don't go outside. The building that I'm in is attached to a pedway, and it's a big tunnel. It's above ground, beautiful glass windows, and from my building I can go down through the elevator and walk through the underground tunnel and walk into the pedway. And the Dubai Mall is zero point 0.9 miles away. It's a nice little walk. It's not bad. It's easier to walk than take cabs because cabs got to go around the building. But you're walking through this beautiful pedway, air conditioned, the moving escalators, beautiful windows. You can look at Burj Khalifa. You can look at the skyline. You walk all the way to Dubai Mall, you're inside. And in Dubai Mall is everything under the sun, including attachments to all these hotels. And if you need to go to other hotels from there, there might be additional pedways. You can spend all day inside. And then, even interesting as well, it's got a beautiful metro system. All right. And so this is transitioning between number 8 and number 9. Number 9 is the infrastructure, but it's part of a hamster wheel. So when you walk in, for instance, you can walk down through a building if you're close enough. I mean, if you have to walk outside, maybe, but you walk into the metro station, which is their above ground train. Beautiful, brand new, all architecture, air conditioned. You get on the train, they are on time. They're like the French or the Germans, man. If it says it'll be there in 1 minute, it's there in 1 minute. It says it arrives this time, it's on time. The trains are beautiful. They're immaculate. They're clean. They're air conditioned. And some of the train stations are also attached to other buildings or other pedways. So there's times, again, for me, I'll have meetings and I'll leave where I'm staying, walk down through the building underground into the train, take the train 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 stops, get out of the train, walk across the highway through the pedway, walk out of another one, walk through the pedway, and I'm in another hotel for a meeting. You never leave. So sometimes people will ask me, oh, is it hot outside? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't been outside. Well, I thought you had meetings. I did, but I was never, quote, outside. All right. So the infrastructure, which is number 9, the infrastructure of Dubai, again, is really amazing. And as you look at the city, almost everything is new. So it's within a certain amount of within the last 40 or 50 years, Dubai, with the government and things, have really done an amazing job. So the trains are efficient and on time. The cabs are there. There's super cabs. There's Uber. There's Careem, which is one of their super apps. Here's a little Dubai tip. Uber's probably the most expensive. It's cool. Bunch of white Lexuses. Careem is an app that you order a cab. It's like Uber for the taxi cabs. And they're great, and they pretty much show up on time, and you can get the Careem app and get discounts. But the actual cabs are there as well. The cabs are the cheapest. And I've done the comparison. There's times where Uber will be here, Careem will be here, and the cab, if you just walk outside and take it, is actually cheaper than the other two. Not saying one's better or the other. There's advantages and benefits to being in an Uber possibly versus a cab. There's an advantage to ordering a cab and knowing it's there, but don't feel bad sometimes if you walk outside and there's a cab. Just take the cab. They're great. They're efficient. They speak English, and they aren't overly expensive. Like some other cities, a cab's more expensive. In Dubai, it's absolutely not. So the infrastructure is great. One of the downsides, again, I love Dubai. I'm fascinated by it. There are some things that are a little less. One of them, rightly or wrongly, the construction looks beautiful. The architecture is beautiful. The quality sometimes not so much. The apartment that I have, which has been great. Sometimes you might go to open a door or a drawer and it falls off or it's a little loose. Nothing against it, just it's kind of one of these weird veneers. But the city went up so fast that some of the construction quality isn't quite what it might be in another country or culture, but I don't hold that against them because again, the infrastructure, the beauty, the number of hotels and buildings, and the skyscrapers, and the architecture across the skyline is really, really, really amazing. All right. What do I have on here? Let's see what's left for Qatar. I've got my notes here. Oh, the reason I'm doing this also is a lot of people with World Cup coming up aren't going to be able to get into Qatar. There's not enough hotels, there's not enough infrastructure. And as a result, people are actually going to stay in Dubai. There's 90 to 100 flights a day going from Dubai to Qatar. So it's a 50-minute flight. Apparently, they're going to fast track through the Dubai airport. Again, the infrastructure is great. Train goes straight there. The lines are efficient. So you'll be able to fly from Dubai to Qatar, hang out at the game. In Qatar, there's not drinking. There's a little more modesty about how you're dressed. So it'll be interesting to see how Doha pulls that off. I think they'll do a great job. But there's going to be people who go to Qatar for the game and come back to Dubai for the lifestyle of the hotels, the food, whether they want to party or not, which again, I grew up playing soccer, so I'm sure there's a lot of that will happen. But Dubai's going to end up in this position where people stay in Dubai and fly to Qatar, and a lot of this information will help. Number 10, I may do 11 and 12, we'll see. But number 10 is what's called free zones and the licensing for Dubai. The business side of Dubai, again, amazing, fascinating what the government's been doing to encourage business to come here. There's different what are called zones, free zones. DIFC, one of the biggest and relatively most famous, it's the Dubai International Financial Center, I believe. It's the financial zone. The DMCC, which is actually the largest, over 20,000 businesses. The chairman does an amazing job running that. DMCC is market for commodities, so gold, diamonds, things like that. You've got ADGM, which is the Abu Dhabi one, the general market. But in Dubai, you have these different zones based on what kind of business you have. There's a media center, there's a silicone center, there's a Dubai media, there's medical, there's different zones, different areas, different cities, and different license structures. And this is important because getting licensed in Dubai has some really interesting advantages. You can now, unlike before, they used to have an Emirati partner program, it's changed. You can do a free zone license. You have 100% ownership of your structure within that zone. It's, I believe, a 50-year tax-free in the zone. There's great communities, like there's one that we've looked at called the DCC, the Dubai Commerce City. I won't give away the secret because this one I think is the hidden jewel, but it's e-commerce. And it's e-commerce and a marketplace, and they have logistics, and they have infrastructure, and they have storage and warehouse, and they have video cameras for product shots, and they have parking. Like it's a full-on infrastructure for e-commerce to set up and move to Dubai. So whether it's a startup doing fashion or food, or whether it's a major institutional brand, this is almost like a plug and play zone for companies to move into. So did a lot of investigation on my own, trying to figure out the zones, where's best, partnering with the private office of the Maktoums, which has been great and helpful. Again, so if any of you are looking to figure out Dubai, feel free to reach out to me. I don't have all the answers, but I certainly have some insights. I'm going to cover one other one. This one, again, I only want to cover it in fairness to Dubai, somewhat in fairness to this aspect of being gay. Again, this is a touchy subject. Sometimes you wonder, should you cover these things or not? But I've had people go, oh, well, you can't be gay in public, or, oh, they kill gay people. And I watched a reporter try and ambush in Qatar. She tried to ambush one of the ministers of Qatar, and felt bad for him because she's ambushing him about, oh, well, you can't be gay, or you can't be this. And again, this is Qatar, not Dubai. I'm going to make a point. The guy in Qatar basically was saying, well, look, you have your own culture, we have ours. in Qatar, he kept saying, we're modest. We like people to be modest in public. And she's trying to make a point. You can't be this. You go to jail. And he looked at her and said, if you do any of these things in public, you go to jail. It's not one or the other. What's my point? Dubai is fascinatingly open. Again, I live mostly in LA and West Hollywood. So, I mean, I see, the gay side of guys walking and holding hands and kissing and, hey, good for you, live your life. I have nothing against it. When you see it in Dubai, it's really interesting. I'm walking through the mall and there's two guys holding hands. I'm walking through the tunnel and two guys are holding hands. I was in a bar restaurant. A friend of mine, he, said, hey, let's go to this bar. It's great. He was waiting for his wife to show up. It was after we had a business meeting. I'm looking around. I told the guy, said, I won't use his name, but I can use his name, Mike. Nobody's got to know who he is. I said, Mike, this is a gay bar. No, it's great. They have good drinks. My wife loves it because they play good music. Like, they play good music, Mike, because this is a gay bar. No. And he starts looking around. He's like, oh my God. So this particular location had, some guys wearing some things that were quite feminine makeup. Like, it, again, I'm not picking sides, but the open cultural nature of Dubai has become much more open to things than some of the other Middle East countries. And apparently that's been happening over a little bit of, even during Ramadan. I heard Ramadan's one of the big holidays. I'd heard in Dubai that years ago everything had to be closed. Then a few years ago the restaurants could be open, but they put curtains up so you couldn't see what was going on. And then this last Ramadan, it's wide open. The restaurants are open, the bars are open, the drinking's open, even during Ramadan. Now, not as many people came out. They might be much more modest about it. There's a cultural aspect of being modest and respectful, but in terms of being overbearing, it doesn't exist here. So again, really a fascinating time. I think Dubai is a great jewel. I like the other cities, but Dubai to me is the most fascinating for what they've done, what they've put in place with the government, the infrastructure, the coordination, the communication, the accepting of cultures, the ability for people to come and have an amazing experience in an environment that is intimately and ultimately probably the safest, cleanest, most well-run city I've been in. And I've been in ones around the world. Dubai is really doing a fascinating job. So if you get an opportunity to come visit, it's amazing. If you're coming through for Qatar or World Cup or any of that, you will have a tremendous time. And that's it. Those are my tips. Might be a few more than 10. I'm looking at 11, 12 on here, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Stephen Me, the Bullseye Guy. Till next time, thanks so much.